is the Akwazazi of Igara, meaning the one that unites the people. He is an astute businessman, public affairs analyst, and motivational speaker, president of the Edo Progressive Indigenous Association, and he is no one else but Chief Dr. Bishop J.O.E. Edokolo. Thanks for coming, Chief.
Thank you for having me, Philip.
And congratulations on your new title.
Thank you very much. We believe that good things attract only good things.
We look at what you represent. We look at the Edo people, the indigents, and the whole aspect of having good governance to fill the gap, looking at the inadequacies that have really engulfed the people of Edo. Can you say the vacuum has been filled looking at the present government?
Well, if you ask me, what is sacrosanct in governance is unity. When the government is able to put the people together, it's only natural that the interest of the people will be prioritized. With us, with the indigenous people of Edo State, what is sacrosanct for us is for our interests to be prioritized within now till the next generation. And we believe that the only way to do that is to start teaching the positive path of sensitizing the indigents on how to focus on the positive part of their land or their state in order for them to shut their negative mouth and open their positive mouth. Well, with the government, their responsibility is to make sure that the indigents of the land are prioritized, and also to trickle down that priority benefits to citizens or non-indigents within the state. So, yeah.
We've always had the opportunity whereby we have a typical son of the soil representing us at the federal level as ministerial appointment, as lawmakers. Can you say that there's adequate representation in terms of them bringing back to the community what the people deserve?
I think that's where the problem lies, and over the years we have experienced some political disunity among the indigents, and that is why these Edo indigents are here to bridge the gap and bring the leaders attention to the reality of which they have forgotten. And in most cases, these leaders that we elect to pilot the affairs of our people or of Edo indigents, they don't have the knowledge of it. People can only give you what they have. Unfortunately, one cannot give you what they don't have. If you look at what has been going on when it comes to appointment over the years, you realize that, yes, some of the indigents has been appointed to pilot the affairs in the federal level. Yeah. But the question is, who are these indigents? Were they sensitized? Do they know the value of their indigents? Have they been in touch with their indigents? Do they even know what their indigenous values are? Do they have the pre-existing habit to put the interests of their indigents first? In the scale of 1 to 10, it's not even up to 2% of them that has the indigenous empowerment mindset.
Okay.
So on that note, I will tell you that the indigents has not been represented for up to 8% for all I know. So
okay,
and we believe that needs to be changed.
Let's come back to the aspect of employment opportunities for indigents. Do you see the need for indigents to be prioritized?
Well, you and I know that Edo indigents are the most marginalized indigents in the world as far as we are concerned, because it's not the fault of the non-indigents. It is due to the fact that our indigents fail to cultivate the habit to put themselves first. It's not a mentality for them, because the case of the mentality of the disunity has engulfed the mindset of our leaders and our indigents as well. So that is why it is sacrosanct for our organization, the Edo Indigenous Movement, to bridge this gap and bring this sensitization mentalities to the people to make sure.
Let's look at the government of Governor Gordon Obaseki and the whole aspect of providing job opportunities like he promised, delivering on over 200,000 jobs. Or do you see him meeting up with that in terms of meeting the aspiration or filling the gap for the Edo indigents?
Well, if you ask me in a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give him about 6.2%. I always say that because we have seen some atoms of that progressing in Edo State, because I think they did set up some Edo job. I'm aware of that. We did research on that. They did set up Edo jobs, and they also did put some certain things in place to attract employment in the indigenous sector. But one thing, the area that the government has failed is in the area to motivate the companies that have sited themselves in Edo land to actually be able to employ our indigents, because from our research, we have always been taking on companies who has been underemploying Edo indigents, like Presco, for instance.
No, why there's no information in place? We don't.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Just
like couple of companies in the state, about 80% of them, they underemploy the Edo indigents. So they don't even care about that, because no leadership in this society has been able to bring their attention to it and help us to set up a template that they should follow.
Yeah.
So you don't have to blame these companies, simply because these companies do not, they did not meet any template. So companies only work with templates that the society places on ground. That is why this organization has come to bridge that gap and set up a template for other companies to follow.
Let's look at what is happening in politics. Let's look at the aspect of the political rivalry within the All Progressive Congress and the ambition of the governor of Edo State to come for a second term. What do you make of all of this conflict in Edo State?
Well, one thing I know for sure is that political parties, what they ordinarily do to the indigents is to divide them. Okay, and indigenous movement is to unite them. So that's the difference between indigenous movement and political parties. Now, political parties make average indigents or aspirants or candidates begin to think intellectually that they are different from the opposite party, flag bearer. And this is not our mentality. Our mentality is very clear. It's our responsibility to unite all our indigents together for the betterment of their future or for their present interest. That is what we stand for. And moreover,
so this cause is not seen even in the political scape.
What do you mean this cause? Can you run down?
The cause of having this indigenous unity, cutting across political parties, it's not seen, because what we see is rivalry. What do you see as the way into bringing unity among the indigents? Because an aspect where we fight each other over positions, we can't really go forward.
Okay, that is why this organization, Edo Indigenous Movement, has...
That
is fine. That is why we have put together what we call Membership Sensitization Committee. What that does is to begin to sensitize the mind of the indigents, which is sacrosanct, because this whole mentality boils down to a lack of sensitization about their primary interest. Now, put it this way. If you pay careful attention, you will understand that at the moment, as it stands, the indigents' mentality is pro-political parties. And they fail to put their primary interest agenda first. So what we started doing is to begin to make the indigents to understand that what you need to be looking at is not the faces of the aspirants or the candidates, is the agenda of that candidate or aspirant, or you should be looking at the previous records of that aspirant or that candidate, because that portfolio is what benefits, what benefits you can be cited on. And if you notice now, everybody is talking about who is going to be the next governor, who is going to be the party flag bearer, but no one, including the professionals, the people you think that they are scholars, that they are highly educated, no one is paying attention to the vision of these aspirants, the agenda of this aspirant. What do they have to offer? What is their previous record? Because your previous record determines your present mentality and your present reality. So if you peradventure has cultivated a previous record of negative way of approaching issue, obviously that mentality is what you are going to carry into the government house. Our concern is that our indigents should be sensitized on what to be thinking about at this junction and be asking question. Hey, Mr. Man, what is in your portfolio? What do you have for Edo indigents? What plans do you have for us? We all know that Edo indigents today has been going through a lot of trauma about invaders, non-indigenous invaders, investment invaders from different parts of the world and different parts of the country, that is leading to indigents thinking about insecurity in their own land. Now, what is in your agenda or your vision when you become a governor? How are you going to take on this? Okay. Are you going to help to push laws that will help indigents be prioritized in their own land so they can feel secured? Okay. Or you're just going there to
speak about investment?
Yes.
You speak about the need for indigents to be prioritized. What do you make of this argument again that has been said about the indigents, that they don't want to work, they merely want to get rich quick, and they merely want to take after crime, violence? Does that represent the Edo indigents?
Not at all. Well, I will tell you something. Environmental factor determines how people progress with their mentality. When environment, when there is no enabling environment or there is no enabling counsel to the indigents, they automatically begin to attract or apply what we call the mentality of self-help. They'll begin to think their thoughts will now be channeled on autopilot. So whatever that is available is what they work with. So when you have a template, I keep on talking about a template, everybody want to tap into something that is progressive, something that will help them. Now that is the more reason why this negative mentality of the indigents has to be resensitized, and that is what we're currently doing. Because if you pay attention, you realize that most of the people that are condemning the indigent, promoting this mentality of the fact that Edo indigents are not readily ready to work, most of them, it will surprise you to know that it's the indigents themselves. Okay. So that mentality needs to be changed. That's why one of our slogans is to shut our negative mouth and open more of our positive mouth. Because the future of Edo indigents lies in the hands of Edo indigents.
So we should not demarket ourselves.
Exactly. So that is the more reason why we are putting this word out there to all our indigents to begin to focus more on who will pilot the affair of this of Edo State that will help us prioritize our interests and promote our indigenous agenda in a more positive manner rather than negative manner. And another thing that you need to know is that the indigents doesn't know that will help them during this election is that they should understand that political Edo indigents, indigenous power, is more powerful than that of political party, because Edo indigents are bigger than political party, because political parties are temporary and Edo indigents are generation.
Thank you, Chief Dr. Bishop Joy Adopolo, for coming, and we do hope that we will have an opportunity to discuss and extend the frontiers of this issue as time progresses. If you're joining me as TMI Tuesday, and I've been having a chat with the astute businessman and the president of Edo Progressive Indigenous Association in the personality of Chief Dr. Bishop J.O.E. Edopolo. Well, we're taking